Hey, babies. Hey, babies. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Hi, everyone. God, the president was killing me yesterday. Oh, is he killing me yesterday? I don't want to start camp that way. I really don't.
I mean, the good part is he did do it on Sunday. We had yesterday to talk it out, and then training camp starts today.
Yeah.
The way the news cycle goes is it's all about training camp today. Peters and Quinn are going to be asked about it, but other than that, we're moving on to Terry essentially after today.
Peters and Quinn don't have to answer that question. It's like that's an above their pay grade question. Like they can get away from that. And they will. This is not Ron where he's going to wax poetic about something. Or thank God it's not Jack who's going to be answering. Is still around to answer questions about something like that.
Boy.
I don't think I'd want to hear it. And the difference in the second administration from the first was you still could be critical of them without thinking about ramifications. And that's what's different now. And the tone and tenor, just in talking about it yesterday, I'm not that I don't mind reactions, but it was strong, and it was a lot of keep your opinions to yourself, which was like, I'm just telling you about what he said and what I think he might do. And, he has been, irrational at times, so I don't know what to tell you. That's just what it is. And I'm hoping this is passing fancy and it's not something that he seriously wants to delve into and muck up the wheels of getting the stadium deal done. Because last time I checked, he had a press conference celebrating them in the Oval Office the day after the announcement. I think it was about the draft too, coming to Washington, D.C. He was celebrating all of that. Seemed fine with the name then. So, I'm hoping this is all passing fancy and he moves on to whatever, else is on the plate.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone, not just our show, but every show in town yesterday, we'll stick to sports as long as you stick to sports. And when you cross that line, we get to react to it as well. So that's how I kind of, went into it yesterday of we get to react to this now because it's, you're, for lack of a better term, crossing party lines, essentially.
That's right.
And it's also, it's not like, as I said yesterday, he's talking about some team in LA. It's here in the DMV where he resides for the next 4 years. So it does matter a little bit more than in the past when he's talking about things.
I mean, it's pretty clear which way I lean, but I will tell you, this is a 2-team league, and I don't really like either team, to be honest with you. So and I think this. So I don't like what's going on here with this.
Are you team Elon? You're team Elon, new Elon party?
I am not. No. So that they're not in. They haven't been invited into the league yet. If they were, I wouldn't like his team either. I don't like Andrew Yang's team. I don't like the No Labels team. I haven't found a team I like in this league. Right now it's SEC, Big Ten, and all the others, right? And, I can't pick a side. I'm not Paul. I can't pick a side on that one. At least I could try to pick a side in that one if I was forced to. But, I don't even like either. I just want to be clear about that. I don't like either team right now, honestly. So, but this one, I don't know. The choices aren't great is the way I'd probably put it right now. It's not great. You got to sacrifice something about your sensibilities to be on either one of these sides right now.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. No, you're spot on. I was just gonna ask who's poisoning the tree. That's the.
Yeah, they're all Harvey Updike. I mean, they're all of them. All of them. They all took it too far. All of them. Right. They just all of them. Right. Right. It's just like you poison the tree. Come on, man. I get it. This is a big deal. We want heightened emotions, but you don't poison the tree. Come on, man.
And admit it on live radio.
That's right.
Still the best thing ever happened.
It is amongst the greatest live radio interviews that was ever.
It's amazing. It's the best. It's the best. I don't care.
Yeah.
Somebody admitted to killing an iconic tree. It's fantastic.
I have to think about, I'm saying this because I think it's going to be cool to say it to you, is really, that is batshit on a level that's not even I think people are going to like me because of this.
Just make sure on the radio side you edit that out there.
Take that part out. My bad. Yeah, my bad. I forgot where I was for a minute. YouTube, I can do that and just write explicit. and I can get away with it. Yeah.
That's right.
All right. I'll remind that. What time is that at? 6:19. All right. Yeah. Got up too early. Mind is elsewhere. Really want to focus on football. I'm frustrated. Like, let's go.
That was more funny that you just kept rolling. So that's why I wanted to just.
I didn't even notice it.
Yeah. I know. I saw that.
What was the last time I cursed on the air? I can't even remember.
Oh, you did it. It was in the old studios, I believe, when I remember. Like it was like 5 years ago, but you did it. Like I remember looking up at you when you did it. I don't remember what it was about, but
this is a bad sign because I'm like those words get erased from my brain when I do this because I just I envy the podcast because I'm like, they don't have to think about that. I still have to think about it. So I have to erase those words from the brain. All right.
I do think it was the same word. I'm pretty sure it was the same word. So
yeah, I'm frustrated, man. I'm frustrated by this. I will say this for Mayor Bowser. She's keeping the eye on the prize. So she did an interview. You can listen to John Kime's show. She did a one-on-one with him. And it's like 15-minute interview about the state of the stadium. And obviously he has to ask her about what the president, posted on social media about wanting to change the name, which is also kind of not my problem, I think, until it's my problem, right? Because he did insinuate that he would get in the way potentially of the stadium deal, which as of last check, guys, tick tock is not done yet. And again, the president, is he going to focus on this? I don't know. I wouldn't want to find out if I were you. They already sent you a warning shot a couple weeks ago. And then Sunday became, guess what? Woke team name day. It was woke team name day. So I don't want to know what the next day is if I'm them. And the mayor is saying all the right things. And it basically insinuated, I'm trying to get this deal done. I can't get involved with a tweet or a post or whatever it is. I just can't. And that's probably, for now, the right answer.
No, I think Mayor Bowser and the Commanders have kind of done the same thing here, just in different ways. Bowser's going to be asked about it because she's in the public eye, right? So when she
has
asked,
to answer it.
Right, correct.
And it's news, and you can't ignore it. And I asked this question yesterday and got a lot of reaction to it. I'm like, I don't know whether he's serious or not. And most of the people wrote back yes, he's serious. And I'm like, I don't know about that. He says a lot of he pulls the Jerry sometimes. I ain't got time to jack with you. Yeah, where some of it is not serious. And he's just kind of feeding the red meat. And I don't know if that's one of these moments or not, honestly.
No, I mean, I talked about it on my show a little bit yesterday. It was like, how many times does he talk about something, then never bring it up again? Or because it gets a certain reaction, he brings it up. Well, this was a case where he brought it up twice, but it was a Sunday, right? A Sunday morning at that, where he
brought it up twice, though, because he admitted that the first, post got traction. He openly admitted, he was like, because I've had a reaction to this, I will do this again and double down on it because you apparently like it. And so that's not something I take seriously. That's he's click farming, which is he happens to be really good at.
He also goes on to the dead period of a Sunday morning. Go on Twitter on a Sunday morning, and your tweets are 2 pages long from the last 2 hours. There's not a lot going on. So, of course, when he said something in what is a dead period, really, when everyone's paying attention to things, it got a little bit of traction. To Mayor Bowser, by the way, though, her saying, I think it was Eric Flack that had the first reaction to it, where does the name change affect anything? And she said no. That was the right call, because I think her and the team are doing the same thing here of no reaction, because you're not going to win going up against him or with him or whatever. You have to just...
No, you're not going to win.
No matter what's going to happen.
No.
So I think with her and the team right now, because I saw some reaction yesterday of, the Guardians came out and said something. Why isn't this team said something? Guys, it's a little more sensitive with this team than it is with the Guardians. They're not trying to get a stadium and are in the backyard either.
They're not in the middle of something. I said this yesterday. I'm like, the Guardians can say something about it because, one, they're not in the midst of trying to get a new stadium deal that the federal government could get in the way of if they wanted to. They're happy as clams in the stadium that they're in right now, and they have the liberty to just say something. They were collateral damage friendly fire of what happened yesterday. This really was about the Commanders and the stadium deal. and the possibility that the president could get in the way of it. And I saw some people put out these are the ways he could actually do it, because the rational people go, the legislation was already signed. Like this, there's really not a lot he could do. And I would just go, there are always ways. He can push levers if he wants to. He's the most powerful person in the world. And if he decides that this is a project that he wants to mess up for whatever reason, he can. And I think it was actually Eric Flack who put out the list of things that he could do if he really wanted to. And I honestly think the team did the right thing by saying nothing about it. Just nothing. You're not going to win a war over it. Like, even if the majority of people agree the name shouldn't come back, and don't at me for the Redskins Forever people who think it should, and you all know how I feel about it. I have a lot of reverence for the name too. I feel like compelled to always reiterate this. I don't think it was meant that way. I heard someone, I was out last night, and someone said this, and I go, what if Merriam-Webster's dictionary didn't just define it as a slur, but secondarily said also is the team name of an NFL team, and it's regularly used, and it's not considered a slur when used in that context, right, of the name. And I'm like, you make a good point. Too late. Wish you thought of it 10 years ago. Wish you thought of that one. That might have been an idea that worked, because if you walk around town and people use that word, you know what you're referring to, and it's not meant that way. It never was. So you all know how I feel about it. I have a lot of reverence for it too. I'm also not turning back the clock. I don't care that their name is the Commanders now. I still love about and feel about it the same way. And we were all just kind of talking about it. We all kind of came to, we agree that the team did the right thing by not saying anything, because whatever you say, you're just going to put yourself in a corner, and he wants a reaction. And whatever that perception game is on social media, he's going to win. You're not. He's bigger than you. So don't shake the gorilla cage, I think, is the best way to go about it. And let's find out after a couple of days, when this gets a little bit of air, does he care about it and move on to something else? I think that's the best way to go about this.
It's akin to an internet argument. An internet argument only gets ugly because people actually respond to each other. When you don't respond, nothing happens.
That's right.
And that's what I think this is basically, right now in the moment. The team is going, we don't need to say anything.
I agree.
We need to worry about the stadium. We need to worry about our wide receiver. We need to worry about training camp starting today. I think the team is going, let the news cycle figure this one out, because they are separate issues too.
Here's the change in the world over the last 5 years or so. When the Today Show did the announcement of the name Commanders, remember the running joke was Ethel in Wisconsin does not care about this whatsoever, right? I can't, this is a weird place to do this, because the majority of the country does not care that this is happening. Most of the viewers of this do not care. The change is, if Trump cares about it, Ethel in Wisconsin might care about it now.
Right. Yeah.
And that's a whole world you actually these days you just don't want to be a part of, especially when you're trying to do something as grandiose as this. And yes, he can step in and do something about it. So I think the team is right to just sit back, relax. I thought when Mayor Bowser said, and she reiterated this to John, you could listen to the whole interview. John Keim report, he did a very nice interview with her about all of it, not just this, but all what's going on with the legislation and the chair and all that stuff, and trying to push this over the line. I think her line was, we're at the 1 yard line. We're trying to push the ball into the end zone. Let's not get in our own way here, right? Trump just did a Frankie Louvu. He was jumping over the pile. You know what? Eventually they did score the touchdown. People forget that part. They like to show the highlight of him jumping over the pile a million times. The end result was a tush-push touchdown. Let's get the tush-push touchdown here. And I think it's the right way to go about it. And for the team, I think there is no win here by responding to any of this. And, as she said, and I think the team would probably internally say too, he has complimented Josh Harris to whatever degree that was. He says he doesn't know him very well, but he did. He really likes Jaden Daniels. Who doesn't? Maybe Ethel in Wisconsin will be your favorite quarterback one day. Who knows? And he also really liked having him in the Oval Office when they were celebrating stuff about the draft and all this stuff. He tried to put his name in and take credit on stuff like that. Hopefully this is something that kind of either goes away or he's reminded of he actually likes them and he allows this to happen. You know what I mean? And I think staying quiet's the best way to go about it. You're not going to win a fight with him, especially on social media. You're just not.
Well, remember too, he also complimented the DC City Council. Remember,
yes.
he even said, like,
You're doing a good job.
That was the most rational clip I've heard of him in a long time, where he was like, oh, well, they're trying to get a good deal too. And I was like, he's right. They are trying to get a good deal. So it's really funny that, in the real moments that I'll call them, not the internet moments, he's actually been a little bit on all sides to let things play out. And I think that's like what people are easily forgetting here is he never has really taken a side. I think he's been complimentary of the team and Josh Harris and stuff. But when he flipped over and was like, hey, the DC City Council is trying to get the best deal they can too, I understand what's happening here. So yeah, I'm with you. I think hopefully this just washes out in the timeline essentially. And one thing that I did want to say, because I don't think enough people were talking about it, is he was like, this needs to happen immediately. Guys, we know anything we know everything and anything about this. They cannot flip a switch and pull out Redskins helmets for week 1. Like, so even if he wants to say that, the league would have to quietly tell him, Don, this is going to take like 2 to 3 years for this to all actually end up rolling out. So that's the other kind of wrinkle here that I found funny is his demand of it happening immediately.
Well,
that really can't happen is what I'm getting.
This is the impulsive part of it though, where he goes, I don't care. I'm the president.
Right.
You will do as I say. And therein lies, and if you think he hasn't done things like that, he has. So whether these things end up happening or not are a whole other thing, but he has done things like that. There's a litany of examples of it. That's why I take it seriously, but also am hoping this was a Sunday morning tweet because he was just having a good time and he thought about it and threw something out there that he knew that his base of supporters would like, because they've had a lot of things over the last few weeks that they don't. So, like this one, and it fits the right mold. It's got everything to it. It's like, I can control things like this. It's woke, it's all of it, it's all of it. And so it is what it is. And hopefully, I'm hoping that the stadium gets pushed through over the next, 2 weeks, month, whatever it is. I agree with the mayor here. Everything I've heard, 1 yard line, it might be on the half-yard line, and they're first and goal. So, like, I haven't heard any impediments. This was the first speed bump that's come along in a little bit. So hopefully, we'll see. All right, other ones. Let's get on the field. Stick to sports, guys. Okay, Ethel, I'm going to stick to sports now. All right, Terry, what's he going to do? Right? What's he going to do? He's got a couple of options. Without a deal done, and unless something happens over the next, 24 hours or so before they actually start practicing, because today is reporting day. Adam Peters and Dan Quinn are speaking. I'll talk about that in a little bit. We're taping this before they speak, so I don't know what they said yet, but I'll give you a preview of what I anticipate they're going to talk about. Terry's going to be a big subject. It'd be very interesting to see how they sit, how they kind of pose this. Terry lives here, he bought a house here, lives here, got married. Everybody knows all that stuff. Had during his press, the press availability he had at the commercial shoot, reminded everybody how much he cares about this community. He's one of us now. Like, it's not just he's a player here, but he's one of us now. He's a lifer, loves living here. And so, my guess is he's going to hold in. Now, is he going? And I think that is a humongous difference than holding out. His presence will be available. He has openly stated he doesn't want to blow things up around here. He doesn't want to be the person that gets the season that has the most promise attached to it in a very long time and be blamed for kind of stopping that momentum. I know he genuinely wants to be part of wherever all of this is going. He just wants to be respected financially. And I think he just wants to be put in a tier of players that he believes he belongs in. And I can make a lot of arguments for him, and I can make a few against him about that. And I don't want to do that because I don't want to get caught up in the muck of a back and forth. And I think that's probably what's been going on here a little bit is I doubt they're as far away from one another as, say, the Bengals and Hendrickson right now. Like, I don't think that that's what the case is. And I think if he does hold in, even if it takes a little time, it will be his olive branch to the team to say, I don't want to make things worse than they have to be. Can we please just get this done? And I'll do what I've done all along, which is be here, be present, and be for the team. So that's what I hope happens tomorrow.
I will say off of that Fox Sports report yesterday, he said, I don't want to be the one to blow it up, whatever, or break this team up. But he did also say all options were on the table, too. And he even, in the mention there was even maybe request a trade. Now, do I think they get to that point? No, but
I don't.
But the fact that it was thrown out there that all options are on the table maybe lights a little bit of a fire under the Commanders a bit. I don't know. But either way, it's the first time we had heard of Terry basically saying all options were on the table. We're starting to get the back and forth now a little bit. Like the Fowler report that clearly came from the team that they're not trading him, right? Then the next day it's Terry saying everything's on the table for me right now in this moment. So all in all, we're starting to get the back and forth here, which tells me they probably also still aren't close, is what that tells me, because you wouldn't be saying that unless, you were just going to stay quiet and get it close and then get it done today or this week or whenever that would be. So it tells me, too, that there's a lot more negotiating. I'm still very hopeful that it happens, but I do think just from the feel of the media reports over the last 2 and 3 days, they are still pretty much far apart on what they want to do.
Yeah, I always have to just reiterate this. I don't know what he's asking for.
Right.
I do think that matters. I don't want to hear people say, just give him what he wants. Like, that is not the right answer, because especially if you don't know what he is asking for. If it's just a number for a short term, I think we can figure that out. If it is a number for a long term, I think therein lies probably the biggest problem for a lot of reasons. And his age is his age. And I will argue I have not seen him descend as a player at all, but I would be concerned at 31, 32, 33 that it's without a doubt going to start happening unless he is a unique unicorn. And if that's the case, he'll continue to make top 10 money for as long as he can keep his body in that kind of shape. But the team can't take that bet, especially when they have their quarterback's contract, coming up within that window. And that's just reality. So at some point, I think the two sides are, the team is motivated to have him. They don't want to trade him. They want him to be part of the future now and into the future, like now in the present and into the future. What exactly that length means as this level of pay, I don't really know. Probably is one of the issues that's up right now. And he wants to be here. He made that abundantly clear that he wants to be here. So at some point, I think they are both going to get to the point of going, this is as far as we can take it. And it's going to be take it or leave it. And I think we're going to hit that head very, very, very soon. And at that point, I am very, very, very hopeful that Terry McLaurin puts on helmet and pads and goes run out on the field. And whether he's as happy as he could possibly be, that probably won't be the case. But hopefully he's happy enough to go, all right, I feel wanted here. And I think all of us are all reiterating to him what I think the team is trying to say, but just can't give him anything he wants because that's just not realistic, is they want him too. And I hope he knows that and feels that.
What I don't actually understand, though, is I know you're talking about Jaden, but if they give him a 3-year deal, and I don't know what he's asking for, but if he's asking a 3-year deal, that's still up before you extend Jaden.
I agree.
And what I don't really actually understand about most of this is it's not like there's these absurd contracts on the books. They have literally nobody signed besides rookies except for Sam Cosmi. That's it beyond 3 years. And so I think that's where my frustration is really in line with all of this is it's not like you've got it's not like the Bengals where it's Burrow on the books, Higgins on the books, now Chase on the books, and you got to build a team. But they also have a couple other people that they've signed. I guess what I'm not really understanding here is it's not like you need to be penny pinching and looking so far into the future that there is no room. This isn't Dan Snyder in 2006 where he's signing a bunch of guys and they're fitting them under the cap. And then you have all the cap casualties every year, right? That's all that's what I'm frustrated with here is I'm kind of what are you saving the cap space for? There's literally not any of these major deals under contract, and you can have it done before Jaden's up so you can talk to him again if he's still producing at that level, So I think that's where I'm lying here in the frustration of your outlook on the team. I understand. you're going to have to sign an edge rusher. And if one becomes a free agent, you're going to have to hand out that deal. I totally understand if that presents itself. But like, not every team just has one star under a major contract. Everybody has multiple stars under contract. Go look at the Cowboys right now. And I think that's where, like I said, my frustration lies here is it's not like you're committing to all of these guys. You're committing just to him right now at the moment. And you would have it done if it's a 3-year deal before you have to extend Jaden. And even if you do a 4-year deal, you still would be extending Jaden and it would still be on his rookie contract timeline too. So that's my question there is like, you're drawing the line in the sand on this guy, and it's not like you have a million contracts on the books either. I just don't know what the holdup here. That's what I'm getting at.
So, wow, you should be his agent. You make a very good point.
I'm just saying, and also look at his position. Like, they're basically saying, hey, you have to duct tape this roster together every year for at least a couple more years. Who's that wide receiver next year once free agency hits? McCaffrey, Jalen Lane.
A high draft pick.
That's it, though. And, like, you want to put your rookie quarterback, you want to put your third-year quarterback next year without a veteran? Have fun with that. Like, I'm just saying Terry's camp has leverage here, and the team also should be looking at it as we aren't committing to just about anybody beyond the next couple seasons. That's all I'm getting at here. Is it just seems like it should be easier than it's happening right now. I
think it's going to get done. I just think both sides are motivated to get it done. He wants to be here. He wants to be valued. I'm not sure what that means. They want him here. They want the term probably more than anything to be something that they feel really good about. I don't know what that means.
Right.
So these things seem like they could be bridged in a certain way. And hopefully it will be. And how he handles the next step, if they don't get something done in the next 24 hours, will be very interesting to me. If he shows up and he does the hold in, it will be very much a sign to me. I know we're going to get this done. And I'm showing you once again what the team means to me. And if he does that, I think it'll be a very good sign that it's heading in the right direction and it'll get settled when it gets settled.
And one thing, too, that I'll just remind people of, what was it 4 years ago when it was, are they going to sign Duran or John? They signed both. Like, you don't have to choose in some cases. Sometimes you can get them both under the cap. Like, when it comes to Terry, he's going, who else are you signing besides me? So
they don't have cap problems right now. That's, there's a lot. They got, like every team, they got their own issues, but they don't have cap problems right now.
They not only don't have cap problems, they also have a star player problem a little bit. It's not like they have an absurd amount of stars here. Like, I'm not knocking Jaden or anything or anyone else, but who else are you signing? Like, that's what I'm getting at here. So, anyways.
All right, let me take a quick break. Brad Buster Show is at 6:30 the Sports Capital. All right, welcome back. Today, by the time you listen to this via the podcast, for sure, you probably will have heard that Adam Peters and Dan Quinn spoke today to open up training camp. I can't guess what they're going to say, but I can talk about some of the issues I think they're going to talk about today. I assume that neither are going to really take on. They'll probably get asked about the president's, posts about RFK. I think the smart thing for them to do will just be like, that's not our job. We're here to put a football team out there regardless, and we're going to let the people who deal with government relations deal with that. So that's how I think they'll probably handle something like that. The next one will be Terry, which we spent a lot of time talking about. I'll be very interested to hear how they talk about him. These words at this point, which I think is a sensitive time, matter. Dan Quinn, when asked about all of it, said something to the effect of, sometimes the business side intersects and not everybody's on the same page. And he's allowing Adam Peters to do his job with all of this stuff, and he's remaining the coach of the team. I think Quinn, if asked specifically, will reiterate that and message out, we do really like you, value you, and want you here. And I'll be very interested to see how Peters puts it. He doesn't say very much about really anything. And I think it's notable to remind everybody that back in the spring, he said they want Terry McLaurin to be here for a long time. And that's very rare they say anything publicly about anybody like that. So the fact that they did that, I would think that he's going to on some level reiterate that, but I guess we'll find out today.
Yeah, I mean, with both of them, it's just going to be, I think, camp speak. they don't say anything. So I think this is just going to be your first, set of statements where they don't really say much. Neither one of these guys tells you much. Quinn might reveal what, day one of camp or week one of camp is going to be. But I've just come to learn from these guys. They say a lot, but they don't actually mean a lot is pretty much where it's going to be. So I think it'll be fun to hear them for a little bit, but I'm not going to take too much away from it. And as you said, I don't think they're going to tackle on the president's thing. I actually wouldn't be shocked if they just address that straight up, like right away, and then open it up for questions after whatever they have to say.
We're very excited about the future, of our team and where it's going. We have no comment on anything that's going on between any political leaders whatsoever.
That's
right. It's probably the best way to just go about it. And you know what? Like, this isn't Ron, where neither one of them is the president of the team. It's not their job to talk about this, actually, which is one of the things I like about this structure. They all have their lanes they're supposed to be in. Adam Peters is supposed to build the best football team he can. Dan Quinn is supposed to coach that football team. Neither one of them has to go, guys, let's put out a statement about thoughts about January 6th, okay? And that, I actually appreciate that.
I think this is actually one of those cases they can both go, that's above my pay grade, because it actually is. For once, it is. So, yeah, I don't think either one of them is going to say a word on it.
Not that I want to go down this memory lane, but considering we did Harvey Update, that press conference with Jack that day at training camp about January 6th was unlike anything I've ever been a part of in sports coverage in 30 years. I will never forget that. The feeling I had, it's very rare that you go, oh, that's going to blow up in 3, 2, 1. Like I'm going to check my phone in 10 seconds and see what actually happens with this.
I think I was watching it live and I texted you because I knew you were standing right there.
Yeah.
And I was like, how did that one feel? And I think you texted me pretty fast. Like I knew that was going to blow up.
Yeah. My spidey senses went off on that one. I went, oh God, like the random defensive coordinator off on the side at training camp press conference typically doesn't make national news, but guess what, boys? Today's the day.
Not unlike, actually, it's funny. It's like not unlike Trump, where he talks about the Commanders/Redskins name. It means a little more when it's in the backyard, where it's like when Jack said that, I was like, Jack, you can't say that. People live here. They're right there.
Oh, man.
You can't talk about that.
And he just kept answering questions. So he just kept talking about it.
Oh, my gosh.
That was pretty amazing.
One of my, you know me, I collect very terrible pieces of memorabilia. I want Jack's hat that he was wearing when he said that. And I had a source that was getting like coach's gear, and I would page through trying to find Jack's hat. I could never
Where's
find
the hat from that day?
Oh, I wanted it so bad. I wanted it so bad.
And what is it, framed on something that says just to dust up?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I would have tried to get him to sign it with that quote on it too. That's what I would have been trying to do.
Oh, good times, boys. That was good times. That's one of those days when you're like, I cover a football team, right? Like, what's going on here right now?
Right, exactly.
I cover a football team because I don't want to deal with this stuff. Like, that's why I don't want to read Truth Social today. I cover a football team. Okay, I'm trying to, and this one's good now. Like, which is unlike in the past. This one's actually good now. I'd like to really, really, really cover this one.
Well, also don't remember as well, Jack was active on Twitter for a while there too. And I remember just saying, I don't really care what side of the aisle you're on, but you are being a distraction. Like at the end of the day. Yeah.
He was dangerous when Gutfeld was on. Oh boy. That's when Jack got real dangerous around 10 p.m. That show popped up, a couple of good pops in him, and he's ready to go.
Man,
I'll tell you what, America. Here we go.
That feels like a million years ago. By the way,
it was. It might as well have been. It was a million years ago. Yeah. All right. Well, other things I think they're going to talk about. I would hope that someone's going to ask him about the right side of the offensive line as we head into camp. One, where is Sam Cosmi? It is my understanding that he, won't be ready to play until October at the earliest. But I want to see how they clarify that. Remember, he did tear his ACL. It was in the playoffs. So it's going to be tough, to get him back and anywhere near full strength. But hopefully they keep saying these things like he's hit all the markers. I'll be interested in an update there. But obviously he's not going to, start practicing anytime soon. So what happens at right guard in the interim? And is Josh Connerly streaking towards starting at right tackle? I'll be very interested to see how they talk about that today, or at least how Quinn talks about the competition on that side of the line.
I think what'll be interesting with Cosme too is you and I have, talked about sports for a long time together. And our thing has always been when you come back from those injuries, you're not the same right away because you don't get to prepare in the off season and do your lifting and your conditioning the same way that you did before. We talked about it with Tom Wilson, right? Remember Tom Wilson was pretty pedestrian after his major knee injury after he got injured against Florida. And we talked about it. It took like 2 seasons for him to get back to where he was because you have to work out in the off season. Cosme, I think, is going to be a little bit off the same cloth. I know offensive line is not the same, thing essentially, but it's going to be interesting to see how he recovers from that. But I'm with you. How do they duct tape that together right now? And I like the one thing they've done with Connerly right now at the moment is they've not named Connerly the starter by any means, which I think is good here. It's something that I've liked with this group. They never named Jaden Daniels the starter last year until week 2 or 3 of the preseason? I don't even remember when it was, but it took a couple of weeks for him to be actually named the starter heading into the season. So I also think what's going to happen here is they're not going to pressure him too much. I think that's also key here as well. I know he's a first round draft pick, but let him get this figured out. And if it takes a little bit of time, it takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, I mean, this is the one position I think on the team. I can't really think of anything else, honestly, where I go, that's the mystery. Like that's really it. I'm hoping that we're going to get some glimmers of how different the offense is going to be this year, because I believe it's going to be based on the personnel that they have. Having Deebo Samuel gives them a lot more flexibility and a movable part like they haven't really had in year 2. And having Tunsil trickles down the offensive line in a way that I think that they could be more pass first. So I don't know, though. Until they do it, I don't really know. I would like to think that they're going to have an offense that doesn't force Jaden to vacate the pocket as often. And I would think that they'd like to have him throw the ball a little bit more because of his accuracy and ability there. He's really a pass-first quarterback who happens to be a great athlete who can run. And last year, by the middle to late part of the season, he had to run for his life to save this team's butt every single week. So I think that that's going to be a change. So I will see how they kind of think about that. And then I do want to hear, Von Miller's only been here a couple days, but Dan Quinn adding him to the roster, do you expect him to play a lot? Is he a specialist? How are they thinking about him going into the season?
No, exactly. I think, I said it yesterday that I'm interested to see what Von Miller's, usage is going to be, right? What is his actual title going to be? Is it going to be just a third down and a passing specialist? Are they going to rely on him a little bit more? Not sure. That's one that I'm very interested in. Other than that, there aren't a lot of things to address here either. The roster is kind of settled in besides the rookies, Connerly and Amos. Other than those two, it seems like the roster is pretty much kind of set there. And maybe there's going to be some battles for depth, but I don't know. There's just not a lot of questions here that I have about the team. There's the 2 major ones are offensive line, and the other one is, how some of the other younger players are going to shake out.
It's an interesting question to maybe ask Dan Quinn, who they thrive on competition. Everything's competition. And we walk into this camp and I go, where is it?
Yeah, right.
So how do you fuel competition when it looks and appears, hopefully no injuries, but looks and appears like we kind of know where everybody's going to be, right? So how do you fuel that competition? I'd be interested to hear how he kind of poses that right now.
I do think along the defensive line, those guys are all going to be fighting for snaps, but they're all going to be used,
Sure.
it's just going to be who gets a few more than someone else. They're all going to get used the way as a unit. So it's I guess your competition is there a little bit, but we all know they're going to have to rely on all of them with the way that the line is.
I mean, there could be a surprise, but I think I know who the safeties and corners are. There could be there's not going to be a surprise at linebacker. I know exactly who those guys are going to be. The defensive line, I think I know who the frontline starters are. The combinations are going to be interesting, right? All that's going to be interesting. Yeah. On offense, I know, assuming Terry signs, I know who the wide receivers are, at least the top 4. I know who they are. I think the line is interesting until it's, healthy, but the right side of the line is somewhat of a competition. I know who the tight ends are. I guess there's some intrigue at running back, how does that shake out? Who gets what? Like that I think might be interesting, but I think I know who the players are that are going to make the team. It's like, who's going to get the lion's share of the carries? That's an interesting part to me, but like there isn't a lot there to go, what's the competition? So I would wonder, on a coach who loves competition every single day, how do you fuel it when there doesn't look like there's a lot of it now?
No, I think that's exactly right, especially with just, you got a month to go until, you have over a month to go until the season. How do you keep these guys going a little bit?
Yep. All right, let me take a quick break. Brad, watch the show. ESPN 630, the Sports Capital. All right, welcome back. Day one of camp really got off to a great start with Jerry Jones, who, man, like, I'm not sure he should be doing a lot of more of these press availabilities because he's getting himself in trouble over and over and over. He basically said he pointed out when people were bringing up Micah Parsons and his contract situation, he just pointed out that he had missed a bunch of games last year, which is true, which is suggesting I don't want to pay players who can't be on the field all the time. And there are three prominent examples of this. Parsons last year, Dax missed a lot of time over the last few years, and Trayvon Diggs can't stay healthy and had the very unusual, they lowered his salary yesterday because his rehab by contractually was supposed to take place down in Dallas. He wasn't doing it there. He was doing it somewhere else. So the team contractually can take some money away. Most teams kind of don't in these situations, but they did in his case. So Jerry's doing some things right now that I'm sure his stars don't love hearing or reading about or seeing some of their money taken away from them. So good luck with all that, Jerry. Good luck with that strategy of keeping your team happy.
The second I saw a Jerry Jones video pop up on the timeline of people talking about it, I said, oh, we're so back. Like, football is officially back once that press conference happened. And not only was it, taking the shot at Micah, it was taking the shot at Dak too. Yep. Like, dude, that's your franchise quarterback. He's the highest paid player. What are you doing here? And then he also got the Micah thing wrong. He said, oh, he missed 6 games. He only missed 4, actually. So, like, he didn't even say it right. I don't know. Like, I feel like you got to take the microphone away from him. And did you see what Stephen Jones said too? Did you see his little quote as well by chance yesterday too? They asked him what's going on with some of these deals. And he goes, I'm the one that's negotiating all of the contracts. So then everyone else was like, oh, so it's you. You're the one that's waiting till the last second now. Like, and it was like, everybody was like, you could have not answered that and let Jerry fall on the sword, but it's you who's apparently going to be the heir apparent to this thing, or one of the heir apparents. I shouldn't say he's going to be the sole one, but that was the other thing that kind of blew up yesterday too, is it's like, oh, it's not Jerry. It's not just Jerry. It's Stephen Jones too that is screwing up some of these negotiations. I don't know how you could have a more terrible day zero press conference than what the Cowboys did yesterday, but they did in about 30 seconds. It was great. It was fantastic. I love it.
Did you hear the one where Jerry was asked if you thought about getting a GM? And he said, I thought about it for like a millisecond, and then I decided not to think about it anymore.
Oh, God. I mean, I thought
year, this is it. Like, if they just go sideways and just blow up, there's going to be a reckoning down there. And I think they're going to finally be a clamoring for, you got to put somebody in charge of this stuff, Jerry. Well, and you can go do your interviews and everything, but you got to put somebody in charge of this.
I also thought JJ Watt put it great on his quote retweet of the whole thing, which, by the way, Micah Parsons retweeted, which was great, by the way. But JJ basically said, when you can take a shot at your quarterback and your star defensive player, you simply must do so. Like, and pretty much said that like, why do you do that? And then he followed it up though with, imagine playing hurt and fighting for your team and your owner pretty much comes out and said, I don't want to pay you because you might be hurt. Yeah, right. That'll really get everyone motivated to go have a great season. Thought JJ put it really well there, and I couldn't say it better myself. That how do you get a little bit of extra out of your team? It's not that. Basically saying I don't want to pay you because you're going to get hurt.
The Bengals still don't have their first rounder signed. Their owner came out, who's also similarly basically the chief decision maker of the team and actively involved, and gave some very weird quote about the language that they're balking at is types of things like off the field issues that we don't want to pay the guarantees if they were to do something that lands them in jail. And, because he said that, the quote was, I don't want to pay guys who are in jail. They took the context out of it. He wasn't saying, I think this guy could end up in jail. He was just
jail,
saying,
is
he? Yeah, he was just saying, like, if something happened, and it's unusual, but if it did, we just want to get out of the contract, and the agent and the others are saying that's not entirely true, what they're trying to put in this. And I mean, we're in a new world here. In most cases, all the leverage is on the side of the team. This guy could go back, play college football, and get paid. Now, not would he get paid in terms of a first-round pick contract, but he could. And I don't know if it's going that way at this point. And it'll be interesting to see what pops up here with that.
I don't think he can go back to play again.
He
can. Okay. He can enter the draft. I did see the loophole is he can go re-enter the draft too, and then every team except the Bengals will have a shot at him, which I think that's pretty crazy when you think about it. And you're blowing that rule up. You could have some quarterback take advantage of that as well. So, yeah, all right. Either way, I mean, look, you and I have talked about the Bengals at length. This is the type of franchise that they are. I don't know who's in the right or the wrong here, but usually good organizations don't let this happen to them.
I'm out of time. I was so psyched to get your thoughts on your boy Levis shutting it down for 2025, but we'll just leave it at that because does anyone really care? Ethel in Wisconsin doesn't care about that.
No,
that's for sure. She doesn't care.
Doesn't care at all.
All right, everybody. We'll have a full camp preview tomorrow. Brad Watch the Show, ESPN 630, the Sports Capital.